I'm Craig Doyle. I run the worldwide account program for WESCO Annixter, which includes all of the hyperscale, large-scale MTDCs, emerging AI, and global end users.
So give me a little bit of background on what WESCO actually is. What is it doing?
Sure. So it's the combination of two large legacy organizations. WESCO were a very large primarily US-based electrical distribution company. Did a lot of services in the grid environment, but also in commercial real estate and obviously in data centers as well. And then they acquired a business called Annixter that was a global organization that was primarily focused on ICT, security, services, AV. And it was really a match made in heaven that happened a number of years ago and brought together two equally sized organizations that really had great synergy, not a lot of conflict. So it worked out as being one of those really good acquisitions that seems to have paid off dividends.
So how should organizations be scaling up now to make sure they're ready for the growing needs of AI?
Yeah, I think planning is, it's the oldest adage in the industry that we're really tied to on construction. Really having proper planning well in advance is the biggest challenge, and it's also the thing that will bring the biggest returns. And typically in supply chain, planning is based around that kind of amorphous idea of lead time, how long it takes from place of order to delivery of item. But if you look at the largest scale, most successful organizations in this area, they think about it far further earlier in the process than that. So in the traditional construction world, we have the REBA stages that go from 0 through 5. And the reality is, 0-1 is around the concept and the design of what you want to build. If you're beginning with the end goal of construction in mind and the time it takes to build, then your supply chain conversation really should start at the design and concept phase.
So are you seeing a trend towards sovereign AI infrastructure where EMEA nations or regional enterprises choose to build local private data centers rather than relying entirely on global hyperscalers?
Yeah, I think, sovereign AI really has its genesis. If we think back to even simple things like GDPR, countries need to have clear rules about where and how data is utilized, because data becomes not just a personal asset, but it becomes a currency. We've seen over the last 10, 15 years about how social media has evolved to utilize that, whether it's personalized or anonymous data to build trends for advertising. Well, it also can then target audiences. I think through GDPR, we learned a lot about what that means with regard to data protection. If you then think about AI as a great asset to a country and a sovereign nation, the reality is, do you want to hold over the control for yourself, or do you want to allow control to go to others? And I think if you polled 100 countries, they'd all tell you, almost 80-90% would say we would rather have control over that resource and that asset.